Hello everyone. Today we're gonna talk this class. We're gonna talk about two topics for Precal Calculus Lesson 2, and then we will have to cover the least common denominator, which is often called LCD. And then the other is a basic math concept where you can find the sets of numbers of the sets, and then what are the definition of the sets, number sets, and also the intervals and how you express the number intervals, which can be written on the real line. Okay, and a question that is given you: find the sum or summation of this problem. How can you do that? So there are two ways that we can do the common way. So one way, where you actually can use your calculator. So 1/2, which is actually can be written as, put on your calculator, is going to give you 0.5. And then, so 1/3 is going to give you, so we had actually talked about the irrational number. So it's going to be a rational number. It's going to be continuous, give you the sequence of 0.33. So where you can just put a bar on top of it. Okay, if you are chemistry or biology or physics major, that you will later on have to deal with those digital numbers. So they will be telling you when you measure something and which number, how many the tens place, what is going to be stopped at tens place or 100th place or 1000th place, and there should be a method in there. This is a math class. I'm not going to talk about that later, but once you go to the physics class or chemistry classes, will tell you exactly what is the method that you need to know to determine how many digits that you need to stop when you put in your calculator. Okay, and then here we talk about 0.53, and then it's going to be continuous, giving you a digital of 3 until it will never end. So we call it a rational number. Okay, and then 0.5 plus 0.3, and then here you just add on the tens place, so it's going to be giving you 0.83, and then with a bar, continuous, or you can just ignore this. Okay, and then this is going to give you exact number of what is going on. However, you can also want to do another way where you wanted to express the whole thing as a fraction. Then how we can do is 1/2 plus 1/3. We already observed the numerator is the same, it's 1, but the denominator is not the same. The denominator is 1 is 2, the other is 3. If we say 1/2 plus 1/2, we can definitely add those two together because they have exactly the same denominator that we can actually add with no issue, which is 1/2 plus 1/2. So we can say 2/1 plus, so which is 2/2, which is equals to 1. So there's no problem if you add two fractions that have exactly the same denominator. However, if they do not have the same denominator, here is a common way that we have to do, which is called LCD. You have to find the least common denominator. How can we find? We have to find the least, the prime number. Factor every number out of in your denominator so that you can determine which is all the prime numbers. So what is prime number? Prime number is going to be 2, 3, and 5. It can only divisible by 1 or itself, not any other number. So if you divide by any other number, it will not give you like integer, so it will give you something like fractions or digital numbers that's going to be continuously of not ending. So you have to find the prime number. Here, if you have a hard time in looking for a prime number, I recommend you just to start practice and starting from, so 1 is not included, and starting from 2. Can you find any other number other than 1 or 2 itself can be divisible to just an integer? If you cannot find it, just write it down. And then later on, if you are computer science majors, that you will be asked to write the code programming of finding the prime number. You're given like less than 100 or the maximum number, which is 100, and then you can just find all the print out all the prime number over there. Okay, now let's continue. And then so in this case, 1/2 is already prime number, and then 3 is also prime number. So we already find which is the prime number of each 2. They are both prime number. Then we want to multiplication, do the multiplication of each other. So you have to multiply of 2 and 3, where you can get 6. So if you multiply by 3 on the 2, and then you multiply 2, and then you have to do exactly the same thing on the top. So where you have 6/3 plus 6/2, which is 6, and then so they have exactly the same denominator, and then you can just add them 2 together. So 3 plus 2, which is 5. Everyone understand? So now let's continue to a harder problem. So if it is a 5/36 plus 7/120, and then how can we find the least common denominator for the 36 and 120? So the basic way that we actually can do is write out 36, and then we're starting from factoring 2. If we do 2, divide by 2, and then we have 18. And then can we still divide by 2? And then we have 9. Okay, so can we do divide by 2 again? No, we don't. Because if we divide by 2, we're gonna get 4.5, which is not common factor for 2 anymore. So we will be having to divide by 3. Divide by 3, then we only have 3. So which means we have 2 2's and then 2 3's. So basically we can have written 36 as a factor of 2 to the power of 2 times 3 to the power of 2. And then we want to do the same thing. And then 120 divided by 2, which is 60. Can we still divide by 2? Yes. So we divide by 2 and we got 30. Can we still divide by 2? Try on your calculator if you find a hard time. And then we have 50. And then next prime number, the smallest prime number is going to be, so we already tried 2, it's going to be 3. And then we divide by 3, it's going to be having 5. And we divide by another 3. So we can do divide by 5. And then we have 1. So we have 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 3. And then we have 5. Okay, so we only have 1, 5. Okay, and then right. So 8 times 3 times 5, which is 24 times 5, which is 120. Check. And then we now can write as 2 to the power of 2 times 3 power of 2 plus 7 divided by 2 to the power of cubic, and then times 3 times 5. Okay, and then we want the next step is we want to take the least common denominator. For each, we want to take the most powerful. So we have 2 to the power of 3. And then we have 3 power to the 2, which is the highest power. And then the highest power over here, 5, which is 5 only. So 5 to the power of 1. And then we can just calculate how much is it. It's going to be 8 times 9 times 5 is going to be 72 times 5, which is 360, I believe. And then this is the least common denominator is 360. Now let's see. Go back to the original question, which is 5 over 36 plus 7 over 120. Starting from 360 divided by 36. What is that? It's going to be 360 divided by 36 is going to be 10. So in this case, we have to write 36 times 10. If you multiply one number on your denominator, you have to multiply exactly the same number on your numerator. Keep the same. So you do the same thing. 360 divided by 20, which is 2. That means you only have 3, sorry. That means you have multiplied by 3 and then divided 3. So now you have 360. So 50 divided by 360 plus 21 divided by 360. Now numerator and denominator are all the same. So it's going to be 71 divided by 360. And then this work is done. So this part, we are looking for how to find the common factor of LCD. And then this is a method. Okay. The next topic, we want to talk about the real line. In mathematical method, it's going to be very important that the real numbers can be present. Real numbers that can be present and labeled on the real line. So usually we go for an arrow, and then in the middle, you want it to label as 0. And then you wanted to keep exactly the same intervals, label as 1 and 2. And on the left hand, you wanted to label as negative. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and 3 and 4. And in mathematical method, if you wanted to circle, have a black dot, that means you wanted to include this number. But if you wanted to just circle it out and then 1, so you would have exclude 1. For example, if you wanted to express the interval between 0 and 1, so you have to say, what if I do this, 0 and 1? So it's an interval that is between 0 and 1, but not including this point. If you want to say, okay, I want to include both, it's going to be 0 and 1. So you have to write a black dot at the right top of 0 and 1. So 0 and 1. Okay? But what if you wanted to say, I want to just include 0, but not 1. So it's on any real numbers that is going to be the black dot on top of 0, and on top of 1, you just write an empty circle. Okay, this is how you wanted to express the real numbers on the real line. What if you wanted to find the 0.5, let's say 1/2? It's actually right in the middle in this line. You just label as a question needed, whether if you wanted to do a real dot, a black dot, or circle. Okay, then it is a real line. It's a very important expression. Later on, you want to also talk about exactly the same thing, where it can have the mathematical meaning. For example, this can also express as x is actually belongs to less than 1 and then greater than 0, but not included. Okay. Similarly, less is equal, greater than equal than 1, and less than 1.